All right, let's talk some Justin Fields, why don't we? As, it's worth mentioning, if you missed the game, we only saw about half of a game of Justin Fields. He ended up getting banged up. Doesn't seem like the injury is too serious, but could sideline him for a bit. However, we got to see some more Justin Fields tape. It didn't look great, if we're being honest here, against Minnesota, but there were some flashes. It wasn't terrible either. So let's talk about the good and bad of Fields. Like, starting off with a play like this is something that's just, it's still an issue with Fields it's cover zero. That's what the Vikings are doing. That's what Brian Flores likes to do, right? He likes to do these all-out blitzes. He'll dial them up, and you have to be prepared for something like this. You don't know if it's going to be cover zero. They could drop back into coverage, but good chance it's cover zero here. That is how Chicago is blocking. Their center is going to be blocking towards the offense's right, so that means that there is an unblocked player all the way on the edge. That guy, the guy all the way towards the offense's left, that's who's the unblocked player. So, okay, if you're Fields, what do you do? Well, ideally, you want to get rid of the football quickly, but you have to be aware of that guy, right? You know where your blocking concept is. You know what's happening here. This isn't a surprise. Personally, I kind of often feel like in these situations, I'd rather, shift the blocking alignment just so that way, you have the blind side being taken care of. You're not as worried about that. And if someone comes blitzing from the offense's right, at least you can see it. But again, running out of time here, only have so much time to work with that. I get it. However, watch when Fields takes a snap. It's like he's completely surprised by this idea and he gets just crushed right there. I mean, that was going to happen. Like, you had to be aware of that. I don't know why he didn't pick this up, and this is something that has been an issue with Fields, is protecting himself. Some fans will look at this and say, oh, wow, offensive line needs to block better. No, the offensive line did everything right there. There's an extra an extra pass rusher as opposed to blocker. Only so much you can do. For Fields, you have to be aware of it, and you have to get rid of the football quickly. That's just what you have to do. I mean, again, give credit to the Minnesota Vikings for dialing that up. But, I mean, yeah, he only had the ball for a second. That's all you're going to get on a cover zero blitz a lot of times. Like, you gotta get rid of football. You just do. This play was very good. Like, Fields' rushing has still been really good, and I see why they're doing these design runs, because, like, it still is an effective strategy. And I gotta be honest, I don't know what this Vikings pass rusher is doing, because Fields likes to run with the football, where the way it's designed to work is you kind of fake as though it's going to be a handoff up the middle. The edge rusher will then kind of go in to try and stop the handoff up the middle, and then Fields runs out towards the bottom of the screen. Watch as Fields is going to, fake this handoff, and you see the edge rusher. It's actually Danielle Hunter, who's, very good player, but, on display, he's over playing the run. So Fields keeps the ball himself, is able to get past there. However, another Vikings player does a good job, number 21 right there, does a good job of getting in position, kind of shedding his block and getting in position to tackle Justin Fields. But Fields is just so tough to bring down in open space. He really is. I mean, watch him just go by a Caleb Evans. That's who that Vikings player was. And he's able to run and pick up a good amount of yards. And on a second down and 17, he comes very close to picking up the first down on that play. Just a really good job by him. Like, these are the things he's capable of. His running ability is still very good, and it still is a factor, and always is something you have to pay attention to when you're playing Fields. But granted, there's stuff like this too, where it's like the pocket presence. It just sometimes I constantly find myself scratching my head saying, what did you think was happening there, Justin? Where it's going to be it's a stunt right here, and it's going to be well ran by Minnesota. Like, look, as you see, really well done. You're able to get a pressure right off the bat. This is not Fields' fault, right? This is the offensive line's fault, and also credit to Minnesota, right? That's what happened there. So for Fields, at this point, what are you going to do? Got in a tough spot. Really, I mean, I don't really have much of a criticism for him. But I watch how he steps up, but then kind of like stops and almost just looks around for a bit and allows himself to get sacked right there. Like, I don't know. Again, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't know what was going to happen on that play. That was going to be positive. Kind of feel like, well, yes, maybe you could have found a way to throw the football away. I think even just go down at that point would have been the better strategy instead of taking a step forward and then just standing back up and letting yourself get sacked. Maybe I'm being nitpicky. I don't know. But again, even if you disagree with me on this one play, I think, there's plenty of examples of him doing things like this that he has to clean up. He still has to figure this stuff out. He does. Yes, it'd be great if he figured it out by now, but he doesn't. Hopefully he can figure it out. Still is going to have a lot of time left this year, even if it's not playing next week. He is still going to play a bit coming forward. Going over here, though, I want to talk some positives. There were some legitimate positive takeaways here from Fields. Something like this. It's cover 0 once again. That's the route Fields wants to throw to, right? Okay, quick route. It's not exactly the same thing. Minnesota is going to have a player drop back into coverage. So you do have, 5 blockers for 5 pass rushers instead of the full, everyone going for the quarterback. But you don't know that at the time if you're Fields. So Fields takes a snap. Again, worth mentioning, 3rd down and 2, has to get just a couple of yards, and you see you have a player who's open. This is Cole Kmet. Tough angle, though, from Fields. You can't kind of throw it the way he wants to, because you see how he's side-arming this one. But as you see, beautiful throw, got it off in a hurry. They pick up the 1st down. That's good stuff from Justin Fields. So, hey, learning from your mistakes. Made a mistake earlier on in the game, but now not making that mistake, getting rid of the football quickly. That's good stuff, and that's what you like to see from Justin Fields. Like also this one, where, again, not the highest degree of difficulty play, but I do feel like this is something Fields is legitimately good at, is hitting the open guy, which I know, again, yeah, you kind of expect quarterbacks to do it, but you don't expect all quarterbacks to do it. I mean, plenty of guys don't hit the open guy when there's an open guy. Fields does, where you see the route on the screen, how this could get open against zone coverage. Watch as Fields takes the snap. He is going to look down the field. He fires down the field. There is a window for Justin Fields to make this throw. And watch where he puts this. Right on the money to where Darnell Mooney doesn't just make the catch, but he's able to continue running after the catch and pick up a good chunk of yards. These are the kind of things Fields is capable of. So there's still some mistakes that do drive me crazy from Justin Fields. There are, at the end of the day, the overall numbers, not great. Not a great statistical day. 6 for 10, 58 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. That's obviously not ideal. That's not going to get it done. At the same time, though, there were still some positives. I don't know. I just feel like with Fields, I think everyone kind of wants the answer of, like, is he good or does he suck? I kind of think neither. Like, it's not always the case where someone is either good or bad. Sometimes you're good enough to not be a disaster and you can make plays, but also not good enough to be like a top 10 quarterback and someone you should build a franchise around, right? I'm not saying Fields can never become that guy, because again, some people grow at different times in their career. He is still just 24 years old. I mean, some players get drafted when they're 24 years old, right? So it's not out of the question that he can continue to improve. He is still a young player. I also would say, though, it does feel like there are still areas where he needs improvement. There does, to me, even not necessarily in the obvious ways, like, a missed throw or a bad decision resulting in an interception. Sometimes in the less obvious ways, like setting the protection and pocket presence, things like that, which have been an issue from him going back to college at this point. So as a whole, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my review on Fields. And again, 10 passes, had a decent amount of more snaps, because, had some rushes and some sacks in there as well. But, not the busiest day from Fields, certainly. At the same time, though, I still thought we saw, enough of him to make a video about it. Kind of interesting stuff. And again, everything I mentioned in this video is based off of things I've also seen him do in previous games. Kind of, it's just a little bit more information about Fields. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Fields and his performance. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.